Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at a massive 12-game slate here tonight on Wednesday night in the NBA. In this one, taking a look at Philly headed to Cleveland, taking on those Cavs. Take a look at some of the best bets in this one. Nate does have his great article up on playpicks.com with some best bets and player props in there for you. And make sure to like and subscribe to that page, as we got a couple other videos up for you today, including that player props video that we are now 10-2 in the last 3 nights or so. So we'll look to continue to stay hot there with you guys. And do check out thelines.com and make sure you're getting the best bets on all those odds, as we have all those available odds from odds makers out there. And make sure you get the best juice back on your money. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, the Sixers are -4 right now at Cleveland. That total's been bet up a couple points from about 217 to 219 and a half. Still kind of like the over there. We'll circle back to it though. 11 games to look at otherwise. Nuggets -6.5 at Washington. The Hawks are up to -1 now. Started as 2-point dogs in Charlotte. Total around 240 there. Mavs are -2 in Brooklyn. Assume it'll be Kevin Durant's show out there. The Blazers are +12 at the Knicks. The Suns -11 at Rockets. Lakers down to +10 in Minnesota. Total of 240 there. Thunder +13.5 at the Spurs. The Bulls +5.5 at Jazz. Bucks -9 at Kings. Celtics down to +2.5 at the Warriors. And then the Raptors are -1.5 at the Clippers. So, yeah, a lot to choose from tonight. But as usual, the first thing that catches my eye is the 76ers going over with James Harden playing. And you're getting value because they've played 2 elite teams in 2 of their last 3 games. 2 teams that are really playing some of the best basketball of anybody in the league. If you look at the 1-week sample size, or if you look at the sample size of when Brooklyn actually has Kyrie Irving out there. They are 2 teams that can completely slow it down and shut you down in crunch time right now. I'm not talking about over the course of the season. And Philly struggled to continue that offensive surge down the stretch in both games, coughing up a lead to Denver. I mean, in the Brooklyn game, they just never really got off the bus. Yeah. But now they face a Cavs team that, again, if you're looking at just the last week or two, is a really bad defensive team. They have a 117.2 defensive rating in their last 4 home games. And while they held the Raptors under 100, their other 3 games there gave up 127, 119, and 111 in overtime win on Monday against the Clippers. The last time they faced the Sixers, game total 244 with Harden out there with Darius Garland going off for all the points he did. And that was with Jared Allen holding Embiid to 22 points. Now Jared Allen is out for the season with a finger. And Cavs are 4-8 without him. Their defensive rating drops, as you might expect. They're one of the worst teams guarding the 3-point line in the last 2 weeks since the All-Star break, allowing 39% from 3. Sixers are shooting nearly 41% from 3 with Harden out there. Cavs allowing too many free throw attempts for this team, which averages 34 attempts per game with Harden. Again, the offensive rating 120.5, scoring about 120 points per game. They're 7-2 to the over when Harden has played. And the Cavs have gone over in 4 of their last 6, including that Philly game, which went over quite easily. Granted, they go under much more often at home, but it hasn't mattered lately. Their defense has just been bad when they face a team that can break them down. And the Sixers, again, it's a case of when they're playing a team that is vulnerable. This is a front-running team now, right? With Harden running the show. It's not a knock on him. It's just that when there is a weakness, he will exploit it again and again. When there are no weaknesses, when he's facing a legit playoff team that's locked in, it gets a little awkward. His game is kind of awkward and strange, but when he's able to find those seams, his team just explodes offensively. And the Sixers have bounced back all year. They haven't lost consecutive games Only once since December 20th have they lost consecutive games. They're now 17-8 straight up after a loss. Really good numbers on the road, 20-13 against the spread. So I think first and foremost, I like Philly to win this game. But I would parlay it with the over. I don't think that they're going to have any trouble scoring around 120 again against this Cavs team, and that should get us over. I would feel comfortable at the over all the way to 223. Really
interesting. Wow, I was honestly going to say kudos to the odds makers for setting a pretty nice, precise line. Honestly, in terms of the total at 217, I think we can find an ability to exploit the spread, and I think we're saying the same thing here, which is we're saying slightly different things, to be honest, about the total, as I am leaning a little bit more under. I'm not going to hit an under at 217 in a game that has James Harden and Joel Embiid in it, to be honest with you. Not only because I don't think that they, obviously they're who they are on offense, but also on defense. I do think that there's the opportunity for them to get a bit better tonight. They have been a little bit better since James Harden came, on the road in terms of that defense. It's not like it's really been great anywhere, to be honest. But at this point, with the 106 defensive rating on the road in games with James Harden, that's 3 games that he's played. Obviously, 2 of those were against Minnesota and New York, and then one of them was against Orlando. So they have a really good defensive rating against those 3 teams. But to be honest with you, right now, I put the Cavs in that sort of that bucket of the Knicks in terms of, especially on offense and what they're able to do there, which is not much right now. And so that's why, once again, I'm not super confident about that over. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I will say, obviously, the Cavs 9-22 and 1 at home. While they've been playing a lot faster in general, that's mostly on the road. To be honest with you, it's still pretty slow at home. So I mean, their defense has been worse at home than it has been all season, but it also started off at a blistering pace of like 102 defensive rating at home. So it's come back to earth. But either way, I'm not really trying to exploit that right now. I think it's back to just being Philly. Right now, a 4-point spread is not something that I'm super terrified of. You mentioned how they win about 85% of their games after they lose. They covered those games slightly, over in terms of 13-12 against the spread after a loss this season. But much more important, like you said, the 17-8 straight up after a loss. I don't expect them to lose. They are coming off a win, but I don't expect them to lose this game after that Orlando game. So, I think tonight we just look at the stars out for Philly and the fact that there's nobody really in terms of in a star role outside of Darius Garland tonight for those Cavs. I don't, without Jared Allen, to your point, Embiid is going to completely cook tonight. I could easily see, those Harden assists continuing. We're still waiting on some of those player performance doubles or any kind of props that we want for that Philly game there. But right now, I think, Philly against a team that's not as good and is a winning team right now, but is not, in terms of their record are the Cavs. But they, as you mentioned, they've lost, 7 of 10. And they're just overall, sputtering without, at this point without Jared Allen. And obviously, they're missing a couple other guys as well. So I think this is a scenario where I don't really want to get cute with that total. Like I said, I just really want to take a Philly team that I think is much better right now, coming off a loss. They're able to stop what the Cavs do on offense, which isn't really much right now. But at least with Darius Garland, there's a lot more threes coming, and they're not hitting them. Are the Cavs, but they are putting them up a little bit more. So I think Philly has the ability to stop them here on defense just as much as anything. So I would prefer the under, but I would just stick with taking that Philly -4, to be honest with you.
So much disrespect for the Cavs, who Darius Garland is lighting it up right now. In their last 4 home games, they have a 115 offensive rating. They're scoring 111. It's not like they're the freaking Knicks here.
No, it's true.
Also, they just got Karis LeVert back on Sunday. He only played 25 minutes, but that's going to make a huge difference. And Evan Mobley dropped 30 the other night. I think the Cavs could score. I don't think the Sixers. I think there is a lot of smoke and mirrors with those early defensive numbers. As we saw with Brooklyn, they just got ravaged, and guys like Bones Highland and Boogie Cousins destroying them in the fourth quarter in their last game. It's not like you need an all-star team to score with these Sixers. I feel very good about the over. I don't think you should let Josh talk you out of it. I think it's good along with that Sixers money line to get you some extra juice here, because that's just been the trend. And if you continue to hammer it with James Harden, as long as you're getting somewhat viable lines here, you're going to profit more or less. It's 7-2. thus far with Harden to the over, and Sixers winning 7 of those games, right? So it is a high percent clip here for your parlay, and that's exactly what we look for.
All right. I mean, look, once again, I'm feeling way better about that 4-point spread for Philly than I am anything else. But I will say that even if you talk about the Cavs averaging 111 points a game or so at home recently, the 76ers on the road since getting Harden, we're talking about 113 points a game on the road. That's about a 214, 215 total. That's my only point there. But I think to your, the only thing that that really actually would scare me now is, to your point, Karis LeVert playing in this game, giving the Cavs another ball handler, not needing to rely on Darius Garland to do literally everything, but it can actually have a sort of wing off ball help there. So look. Philly to win by 4, and that is all the time that we have for today. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page and check out those other couple videos we have for you on this big 12-game slate tonight. And until we see you next, happy betting.